Hi, I'm Angel Peterson from FleeceFun.com, and I'm here in the All Free Sewing Studios, and today we're going to talk about how to get started with your sewing machine. So threading the machine is going to vary a little bit differently between makes and models, but the process is essentially the same. You're going to start out with your thread on the spool. Sometimes there's a cap, sometimes there isn't. Again, that varies. You want to make sure that the thread is going in the correct direction according to the user's manual that asks you to do. Then it's a matter of taking it over and pulling it through any loops that it might need, right here. And then what it's going to do is we're going to thread it through those tension plates, which are important for how much tug is on the string. Then we're going to take it down here and around and up to the take-up lever, and that pulls the string up. We're going to make sure that that's threaded through the take-up lever right there. Then we're going to come back down, and there's another holding place for the thread right here, and another one just before the needle. And some machines can manually thread the needle, or can automatically thread the needle for you. But personally, I don't mind doing it myself. Just cut off the end so it's nice and not frayed, and just thread it through the needle. And then you have your top section threaded. So you'll need to be able to change out your needle because it needs to stay sharp, and sometimes depending on the fabric that you're using, you need to switch out for the correct needle. Switching the needle out is very easy to do. What you're going to do is there's a knob here, and that's what's holding on to the needle. So what I like to do is I like to unthread the needle, have my fingers there already, just loosen it, and then you'll be able to pull the needle out and then replace it with a new needle. You'll need to you can bend the back of the box and pull out your needle. Feel for the correct side, because sometimes the flat side is usually the side that is facing away from you. You're going to find that sweet spot where the needle goes, tighten it. When you tighten it, make sure it's finger tight and not overly crank it, because one, that's not good for the machine. You'll end up stripping your screw, and it doesn't help it at all. So you want to make sure that it's just finger tight, so when you're able to take it out, it's just a matter of loosening it. If you ever had something like this happen where it's just not pretty, and especially underneath it just looks terrible, that's your tension. And I've purposefully messed up the tension on this machine. Most tension knobs will actually show you where the sweet spot is, and on here it's this red spot, and that's the sweet spot for the straight stitch on typical fabrics, meaning cottons, muslins, things that are along those lines. So you want to make sure that your tension is right, because if your tension is off, this can happen. So it's important to know where that tension button is. Now, for example, if I was doing a satin stitch or a buttonhole, I'm going to need to be able to adjust my tension, because it needs to be able to pull the thread through faster to make those stitches. But you can see just how horribly messed up and important tension is. Now that I've adjusted the tension, you'll be able to see what a difference it makes. See, already looks better. Well, it looks a little lost because that's a thread from the other thing. There we go. And it looks good from behind. So it's important to pay attention to your tension and know that it's set in the correct spot for the fabric that you're sewing on. Very often you'll need to switch out the presser foot for different things. And for example, I want to work on a zipper, I'm going to need the zipper foot. Now on this model, you actually literally switch out the foot. Some it's one solid piece, some you just switch out the feet part. There's a little lever right here. I'm going to use that to release it. And then on this one, on the back, there's a button. So I can take off that foot, switch it out, that snap on, it's on there solid. And then I'm just going to take it, put it back on, put the lever back down, and we're good to go. Now some machines you just drop in the bobbin and you could thread it from there, but this machine actually has a bobbin case. And so we're going to make sure that the thread is going in the right direction. It's supposed to be going clockwise. So we're going to make sure that it's going clockwise, which it is. Then we're going to take our bobbin case here and we're going to drop it in. You're going to notice on the side there's a little slit. We're going to pull it up through that slit and up to the top. And then it's threaded through the case. Now to get it in, there's this little kind of flap or lever tab thing in the back. And we're just going to lift that up to put that in. And I'm going to kind of twist it till it snaps in and it's in there. And then to fully thread it, I'm going to hand crank the needle down. I'm going to pull on that thread and it's going to pull that thread up through the top of the machine. And I'm going to just use my scissors to pull that all the way through. And now your machine is fully threaded. I like to sew with cuddle fabric and faux fur, and that will cause all kinds of nasty little fuzzies to get down inside your machine. And you're going to need to come in here and you're just going to need to brush it out. You can even take out your bobbin case, just get in there and brush it out. There's typically a brush that comes with your machine. I'll even use a stencil brush, something with some nice stiff bristles to it, so you can just get in there and get all those little dust bunnies out. Now, this of course is a machine, and meaning a machine, it does need to be taken care of properly. Much like you need to change the oil in your car, much like how you need to get your furnace checked up, your machine should get an annual checkup. It's important to get that done because your machine is an investment. And by just taking that time and having it done once a year, I promise you, if you buy a good machine, it will last you decades. So getting it serviced annually is great for catching little tweaks and fixing things before they become big problems down the line. All right, so how often do you get your sewing machine serviced? Be honest, let us know in the comments below. Also, if you liked this video, be sure to, give us a thumbs up for our hard work. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the videos, and can't wait to show you one of my favorite things.